What if I told you that an entire town just stopped? Not abandoned, not destroyed, just gone. One night, every single man, woman, and child in the small mining community of Oakhaven vanished into thin air. The tables were set for breakfast, the radios were still on, and the only thing left behind was the sound. This is the story the government doesn't want you to hear. This is the night of 1,000 screams. Stick around because by the end of this video you're going to be questioning everything. Oakhaven, Arizona. 1951. Population, 342. It was the kind of town where everybody knew everybody. A classic American small town, a blip on the map, sustained by a single silver mine that dug deep into the desert mountains. It was quiet, unassuming, the last place you'd expect to become the epicenter of one of the world's most terrifying unsolved mysteries. The day before it happened, September 17th, was reportedly totally normal. Kids played in the streets. Miners clocked out at the end of their shift. The diner was serving up pie. But if you dig into the declassified documents, and yeah, they exist, you find little cracks in that perfect picture. Reports of strange, low-frequency hums coming from the old mine shaft, number 7, which had been closed for weeks due to safety concerns. Animals acting skittish. Dogs howling at nothing. The town's one operator, Sally Ann Perkins, reportedly told her boyfriend over a crackly long-distance line that the air feels thick. Nobody listened. They should have. Night fell. Witnesses in the next town over, about 20 miles across the desert basin, would later report something odd. A weird, shimmering haze hanging over Oakhaven's valley. Not quite heat ripples, something else. Something that seemed to bend the starlight. And then, at exactly 11:47 p.m., according to seismic monitors at Caltech, nothing. Absolutely nothing. No earthquake. No explosion. Just a perfect, terrifying silence from the area for exactly 17 minutes. The next signal from Oakhaven wasn't a sound you could feel. It was a sound you could hear. A trucker, Big Joe Henderson, was the first on the scene. His CB radio transmission, logged by a ham radio enthusiast, is bone-chilling. He's breathing heavy, his voice is shaking. He says, "The lights are all on, but there's no one. No one. Cars are just parked in the middle of the road. The diner, there's food on the plates. It's still warm." And then you hear it in the background of his transmission. Faint at first, then clearer. A sound he describes as 1,000 people screaming at once, but from real far away, like it's coming up from the ground. The transmission cuts to static. Forever. When authorities finally rolled in hours later, they found a ghost town, but not the kind you tour on vacation. This was a snapshot of life, brutally interrupted. A coffee pot had boiled dry on a stove, melting onto the burner. A child's toy fire truck was mid-circle on the living room floor. And in every home, on every nightstand, was a single bizarre detail. Every clock had stopped. Every single one. Watches, grandfather clocks, the clock in the town square, all frozen at 11:47. The official report was a masterclass in covering your behind. Mass hysteria. A sudden geological event that released odorless, hallucinogenic gases from the mine, causing the entire population to wander into the desert. They claimed the screams were just the wind whistling through the abandoned mine shafts. Case closed. But come on. You don't really believe that, do you? 342 people, including infants and elderly, just calmly get up and walk into the harsh Arizona desert together, leaving all their worldly possessions behind? And not a single body was ever found. Not one. So if it wasn't gas, what was it? This is where it gets wild. The conspiracy theories are a rabbit hole with no bottom. Some say it was a top-secret military experiment gone wrong, an attempt at teleportation or interdimensional travel using the mine as a natural amplifier. They point to the sudden involvement of men in unmarked uniforms who cordoned off the area for a month. Others look to the stars. The strange lights, the shimmering haze. Was Oakhaven the subject of a mass abduction? A whole town harvested? The stopped clocks could suggest a localized distortion of time itself. Then there's the creepiest theory of all, the one that comes from the ancient Navajo stories of that specific region. They've warned for centuries of places that are thin. Places where the wall between our world and others is fragile. They speak of spirits and creatures that can mimic human sound, that lure people away with voices of their loved ones, often sounding like screams. Did something from below finally break through? Did the miners dig too deep and wake something up that had been sleeping for millennia? Today the area is a restricted zone. Officially, it's due to unstable ground and toxic mine waste. But the few urban explorers who've slipped past the fences tell a different story. They talk about a silence so absolute it hurts your ears. They report equipment malfunctions, cameras dying, recorders filling with static. And some swear that if you stay until dusk and you listen very, very carefully, you can still hear it. Faint, echoing on the wind, just like Big Joe described it. A distant, collective scream, forever trapped in that empty valley. This story messes with you because it hits on our most basic fear: being erased. The idea that your entire life, your family, your community, could just be deleted. In a single night. No goodbye. No explanation. Just gone. So what do you think happened? A government cover-up? An alien encounter? Or something older and far more terrifying that we can't even comprehend? The truth is out there, buried under layers of official denial and desert sand. This channel is dedicated to finding those truths. We don't have all the answers, but we're asking the questions nobody else will. If you've made it this far, you're one of us. So do me a solid, hit that like button, it really helps the channel out. Subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the world's greatest mysteries. And most importantly, sound off in the comments. I read every single one. Tell me your theory on Oakhaven. What happened on the night of 1000 screams? And remember, just because you can't see the walls of your world doesn't mean they aren't there. Or that something isn't trying to break through. Stay curious. Stay safe. I'll see you in the next one.